Hello everyone and welcome back to More Knowing Wheel. Today, yes, we're back with episode 67 of your favourite Formula 1 podcast series. Of course, today we were going to be looking into the Hungarian Grand Prix, of course, this weekend. Was quite excited for that. You know, it had been quite a slow news week until 1 hour ago, where I get a message from Jamie going, "Oi, when are we recording the podcast?" Because Sebastian Vettel has suddenly announced his retirement. Of course, we'll get into that in just a moment. But quickly, you know, pleasantries first of all. How are we doing, Jamie? You all right?
I'm good, yeah. I'm recording this in my lunch break from work,
Yep.
which is fun. So
The dedication.
We're going to speed run the podcast today so I can get back to work.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, of course, as always, though, you know, links will be down below if you're listening to this on YouTube. You know, obviously Spotify, Manscaped, Bybit, obviously Imperium Experiences as well, and a couple of other bits and pieces. They're all down there. Check them out if you're interested as well. But yeah, like we said, today is going to be a speedrun kind of episode. And like I said, it had been quite a slow news week up until now. But Sebastian Vettel, the end of 2022... he's calling it quits, and I don't think, in many ways, that's come as too big a surprise for us, has it? Bless him.
No, it's kind of been... Yeah, it's been coming for, ever since he got rinsed by Leclerc at Ferrari, really. Going straight in, no.
Straight in with it.
It's a bit like... It's unexpected, I think, but it's not surprising. I didn't expect it to be... Like, usually with this kind of news, we hear, like, rumours of it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But it was quite a shock when I saw it this morning. But yeah, it's... When you think about it, it does make sense. I'm just confused as to what Aston Martin do next, because there's no obvious... Like, we often see drivers kind of get forced out for other drivers coming in, but there's no real candidate.
There is one obvious candidate, but we'll discuss that in just a moment. I'll be honest... The only sort of inclination I got towards it was, of course, I was at work this morning and I saw on Twitter that Seb had set up an Instagram account. And I thought, that seems weird. Like, I think there's something else to this. And of course, yeah, a couple of hours later, I don't know, have you watched the video we put on Instagram?
I haven't, no.
It is quite good, bless him. But yeah, of course, just a 4-minute video sort of talking about his decision. So I sort of saw that this morning and thought... This has got to be it for Seb, surely, because I don't think he would have sort of jumped into social media otherwise. But
I reckon it was just 1 hour of Instagram and he called it quits. He was like, I can't do this.
Probably, yeah. Well, like someone said, he'll have gone on there and seen all like the Lewis Hamilton thirst traps and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Just be like, nah, I'm out. See you later.
But, I mean, let's also start this with, what a career.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, fair, but I don't think there's ever been a Formula 1 driver that's had a career like Seb, because, let's be fair, you know, often this series, we have, I feel like we're critical of Seb, because a lot of people don't remember the same Seb that we saw back when we were growing up in Formula 1. You know, that's nothing against newer fans, but the Seb we saw in early years was complete domination of the sport for a couple of years.
And it kind of, it almost, like... It didn't help him for the rest of his career.
No,
because
no,
the rest of his career, the people who grew up watching him are holding him to such high standards where, like, he would just get a 2-second lead in one lap in 2011, 2013 especially, and some race in 2012. Like, he would be on it all race and then just drive off, and no one would be near him at all. Even his teammate could never hold a candle. So... To then go from that to what we've seen later in his career, that's kind of why everyone's so harsh on him, because we saw what he can do when everything's going right.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be fair, in terms of the modern era, I think it's difficult to argue. Of course, that car, I think 2010 to 2013 is always a bit difficult to measure up, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people go, oh, well, the Mercedes is much more dominant than the Red Bulls were. I think... You know, Seb in, like, the RB... What was it? RB9?
RB6 was the first one.
RB9, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the 2013 car. Especially, obviously, after the new tyre regs. That driver and that car was literally an unbeatable combination. Yeah. 9 race wins in a row was absolute insanity. But, of course, then we just saw Seb never really adjust to all the talk of the newer cars. You know, it was so dependent on having so much rear-end downforce. They just never quite adapted to the cars. And I think that's why, you know, it's odd to see a Formula 1 driver, because, of course, the best drivers in Formula 1 are always the ones that can adapt, you know? You know, Michael Schumacher, he won titles obviously at both Benetton and Ferrari. Hamilton is the last world champion on groove tyres and of course has won with Mercedes. But Seb was so dominant in one era of cars and then, bless him, just not in the next generation. And I don't think we've ever seen a world champion fall off, at least in our experience of Formula 1. Probably helped by the fact that, the world champions we've been alive to witness is pretty much Max, Lewis, Rosberg, Seb, Alonso, Button.
Rosberg didn't have the chance to fall off.
No, exactly. But, it's just weird, isn't it? Because Seb just never got used to the turbo hybrids in the way everyone thought he would.
Yeah, it was a shame for him that the rule changes came when they did, and he never really recovered. I think, yeah. There was spells at Ferrari where obviously he was the main challenger for Hamilton.
Yes,
but
yeah.
It never quite worked. We actually spoke about it a lot in the weekend's podcast about Ferrari generally, but never quite came together at Ferrari for him, unfortunately. Ending up with him, losing to Leclerc and kind of getting forced out.
Yeah, it was quite clear from... it's just a career of circumstance, isn't it? Because, let's be fair. Leclerc kind of did to Seb what Seb did to Mark Webber in sort of a weird way, isn't it? Everyone sort of thought, Webber was going to be the number one at Red Bull. He'd been on... I think a lot of people forget, obviously, 2009, Mark Webber. Obviously, he lost out to Seb, but it wasn't by a huge amount. And, of course, everyone forgot he had to completely recover as the season went on with a broken leg.
He had, metal up his leg completely.
Yeah. 2010 was... Let's be fair. 2010 should have been Mark Webber's World Championship. I'm not trying to take it away from Seb in any way.
I'm not sure. I think Seb was the fastest driver that year, unquestionably.
I think Alonso and Hamilton would certainly argue otherwise.
Yeah, but in terms of Mark driver-car combination, 2010, Seb
was certainly unlucky as well, wasn't it? There's no arguing against that.
He made mistakes, but he also lost a lot of points for reliability.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But I think, there was still a lot to sort of say, that could have been Mark Webber's world champion.
Yeah.
In the same way it could have been any of those big four.
Yeah.
So it always is quite interesting sort of seeing Seb then on the other side of that with Charles Leclerc at Ferrari. Because, let's be fair, Sebastian Vettel did just get completely Ferrari'd. He wanted...
Oh, yeah.
But also, of course, fair play to him, he went to Ferrari because he wanted to emulate Michael Schumacher. But he went into a completely different Ferrari.
Yeah, one that was not set up to win at all.
No, and still isn't to this day, it's becoming more and more clear.
Still not changed from then to now. So yeah, it's a shame for Seb, but he's had a very good career. 53 race wins.
53 race wins, 122 podiums, and of course 4 world championships in a row, which only Hamilton, Schumacher, and Fangio can say.
Yeah, that's good company.
It's not a bad little group to be in. Fair play to him. But yeah, like we said, obviously Sebastian Vettel. I think, like we said, we've never been huge Seb fans, but I think we can both certainly say, I'd love to see him back on the podium at least once more by the end of the year. I want that
one high between now and the end of the season.
Exactly, because it has been a career of such highs and such lows. At least by Seb's ridiculous standard for himself. But again, that kind of leads us on, doesn't it, to where does Aston Martin go next?
It's really interesting.
Do they bring in?
Because it certainly feels like every driver announcement in the past few years has been coming for ages and really obvious, and we know what's
the last one, honestly, I think like this was Rosberg retiring.
Yeah,
where we genuinely don't know where it's going to go.
When Ricciardo quit Red Bull, that was quite surprising, but it was kind of like... But with
Red Bull, of course, you know where they're going to choose from,
Yeah, so Rosberg retiring, and you've got so many options, which could all make
and everyone wants that seat.
I don't think everyone wants the Aston Martin.
No, exactly, but you know what I mean.
But I think there's a few obvious candidates. Obviously, test and reserve driver Nico Hülkenberg would probably not turn his nose
sure he
up
wouldn't
at a
say
full-time
no.
return.
No, exactly.
Like my initial thoughts, we've mentioned it a few times this year, Ricciardo to Aston.
Absolutely.
Makes a bit of sense. They're used to paying drivers a lot of money for not much return, so they could go for Daniel Ricciardo. And McLaren clearly aren't that happy with him compared to how happy they are with Norris.
This is exactly what I'm thinking. I think this is going to slot in perfectly, to be honest.
It could. And then the McLaren seat, I reckon still Gasly to McLaren's a thing. which I've been saying all year.
Possibly.
Nice.
I mean, it does kind of tick a lot of the hypothetical boxes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I still wonder whether McLaren would then try and shoehorn Piastri in somehow.
I think the Piastri to Williams is basically a done deal.
It's looking like that, but then again, we thought Seb was going to stay, and then we thought, this is Formula One. Perez staying at Force India, Racing Point was a done deal.
Yeah, true. If I had to put my money on it, I would say Ricciardo to Aston.
Yeah.
Gasly to McLaren.
Yeah.
And then probably Lawson if he gets the super license points. I'm not even sure if he's going to get them.
Do you reckon it'd be Lawson?
Unless they just chuck Isaac Hadjar in, but he's nowhere near ready.
No. But I mean,
I don't know who else it would be. They wouldn't give it to Vips. There's no way.
They wouldn't give it to Vips. No, I can't.
Deruvala isn't good enough.
I can't see giving it to Deruvala. No.
Like
Hauger needs another year in Formula 3.
Wait, no, Hauger, you get the points, don't you, for winning F3? So Hauger would have the super license.
Hauger needs another year in Formula 2. He's not ready yet.
They could go for it.
But he hasn't delivered anywhere near close to what I think anyone would feel comfortable with him in Formula 1 yet. I mean, it really does open up a lot of opportunities. Unless you
get Piastri to McLaren, and that would open the Williams seat for Logan Sargent, who's a big...
Exactly. This is sort of what I'm thinking.
Who knows?
It's all crazy. I mean, we are definitely going to do a couple of shows over the summer, sort of talking about... I mean, we want to do a season predictions recap so far. We want to do a few other bits and pieces like that. But this has really opened up the floodgates, hasn't it? And I mean, we've spent so many weeks
waiting for something to happen.
We're just there going, driver news is so dead nowadays because everyone knows exactly what's going on. And now suddenly we're looking at 3 teams with huge changes potentially coming. But yeah,
no doubt they'll all have been sorted by the next time we record a podcast.
Oh, probably. But I mean, like we said though, just go back to Sebastian Vettel. I mean, I really do hope he, in some capacity, stays around Formula 1 because there is no argument against it. That man loves the sport in a way that I don't think we've ever seen any other driver in terms of the appreciation for the history as well. And it's always that clip, isn't it? I know we've referenced it before, of Seb listing every Formula 1 world champion.
Front to back.
We are massive Formula 1 nerds, aren't we? And I think, sensibly, I could probably get back to the late 70s without any mistakes.
Yeah. And I think I could name all of them, given enough time, but not in
Given
order.
enough time, yeah, exactly.
No way in order. There's not a chance.
No. So, I mean, that was just phenomenal, but... Yeah, I mean, Seb needs to stay in and around the sport in some capacity as well.
I mean, he's got Mick Schumacher to mentor if he wants it. So
he could. Maybe we could see Mick go to Aston.
Yeah, that'd be full circle, wouldn't it?
Because then, I mean, that opens up a door at Haas for a young Ferrari driver or Felipe Drugovich.
Yeah, Drugovich, like or even Teo Porcher.
Or
Ferrari
Logan Sargent, American driver, American team.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We just don't know.
We just
don't know at the moment. Our minds are racing, and it's just going to end up being Hulkenberg or something like that. And it'll be really disappointing.
We'd love to see it.
We really don't. I think Hulkenberg's accepted that he's probably not going to get a Formula 1 gig again.
I mean, I saw the retirement. I was like, Hulk won't get that. And I'm a massive Hulk fan. I'm just like,
exactly.
He's like 34. There's not a chance.
I mean, it could be like a 1-year thing whilst they try and get someone else up through the ranks, but... Yeah, like I said, I don't think...
But it's fairly certain that Lance Stroll will take the other seats, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I think Lance Stroll is... I've heard he's quite friendly with the boss down at Aston Martin.
Good
I think
relationship.
there's a fair chance there. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, we can talk in hypotheticals, can't we, as much as we like, but that's not really going to change anything. I've been having a bit of a look, though, around the F1 website, Jamie. There really isn't a lot of other news to go into. Seb has kind of saved the podcast this week, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would have been, what's your top 3? And then that's it. But, I mean, looking towards the Hungarian Grand Prix, though, this weekend, last year was absolute carnage, mainly at Turn 1.
Yeah.
I think everyone remembers Bottas's interesting heroics into the first corner.
I had
completely forgot about Stroll's. That was horrendous.
Well, Ricciardo and Leclerc were going to get a 1-2 until Stroll just pummeled them.
But he went over the grass through Turn 1 because he'd missed his braking point that badly. But I mean, there's talks of rain this weekend. I think it's a 60% chance in
especially
qualifying.
On Saturday, and there's the chance on Sunday too. But
that can make things very, very spicy. Of course, Hungary as well, often described as Monaco without the barriers. Certainly not an easy track to overtake at. I'm not sure how that's holding on to a contract when a track like Spa isn't. But
no, it's true. Hungary, it has the history. It's just not really got the entertainment or the
Well, it's been on the F1 calendar, hasn't it? Non-stop now since 1986.
It's the second longest run consistently.
Behind Monza.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane when you think about it.
Because
we don't sort of see it as a historic circuit.
No, and Hungary's not exactly got massive F1 pedigree like Monza has or Monaco.
No, Hungary isn't a huge F1 audience. It is kind of mad when you kind of think about it. But are we expecting anything crazy this weekend then, Jamie?
If it rains,
what are we thinking?
I think if it's in the dry, Ferrari should absolutely walk it.
Ferrari have said they see no reason why they can't get 1-2 between now and the end of the year.
Well, especially not in Hungary.
This weekend if they don't win this weekend, that is title over. I think we can all.
Well, I think it's already title over, to be honest. But it's
that is like the nail in the coffin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's a normal dry weekend, I would probably predict a Ferrari 1-2. But it's hopefully not going to be normal dry weekend, so I'm going to do some eggy predictions to get them all right.
Oh, don't. I don't think I can cope with that. But of course, summer break after the Hungarian GP. We'll jump into predictions in just a moment. But yeah, this is really, there's a lot of things still at stake as we head into the summer break. Still quite a few questions left unanswered. Having a look, I'm just quickly trying to load up the championship order. Of course,
Verstappen's 63 points clear.
Verstappen's 63 clear, yeah. But I'm sort of looking, Ferrari, this is a must-win race. Looking further down the order, I think a lot of people have kind of forgot in recent weeks, George Russell is still beating Lewis Hamilton overall.
Yeah.
George Russell now is 1 point behind Carlos Sainz overall again.
Mercedes have still finished every race apart from Russell and Silverstone.
And they probably could have finished that.
Yeah.
I saw a fantastic stat, in fact, actually, a couple of days ago, of if the points went 20 for first, all the way down to 1 for last, and it included races where you retire, I think the championship order was something ridiculous, like Max Verstappen 198, Hamilton 197, and George Russell 170 odd, or something ridiculous.
It's just consistency, isn't it?
They have been so consistent
top 5 basically every race.
And let's be fair, of course, this is the last race as well before we're going to see all the new technical regs. Mercedes could still leapfrog Ferrari by the end of the year. They're not far away. This is mad if Ferrari in a championship-winning car lose to Mercedes in one of their worst years in recent history.
It would be complete funny.
Ferrari.
Yeah. Also, a year since Ocon's first win.
Yes. Yeah. And how much has that defined the sport?
Yeah, not at all. So much so that I completely forgot about him in last week's quiz.
Yes. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
But even looking further down the order, of course, Alpine, 4 points between them and McLaren. Could we still see the likes of Haas, even I should say, AlphaTauri,
new team name,
completely close up the gap to Alfa Romeo because they have not delivered in recent weeks.
Alfa Romeo haven't done very well in a long time.
No, exactly. There's still a huge amount to play for, and the summer break will define the momentum heading into the second half of the year, and of course, like we said, whether the new technical directives are going to really shake things up. There is a lot of questions heading into this weekend and potentially into the summer. We're going to have plenty to discuss over the summer break, especially, if we sort of get more ideas of what's going on with driver transfers. But yeah, this of course was only meant to be a short little show this week, of course, before the Hungarian Grand Prix. What are we saying in terms of predictions then, Jamie?
Yeah, I've got a good lead.
You have. Was it 45 to 32 clear. Or something? Yeah.
So, I've been wanting to do this all season, but I'm going to push the vote out. It's raining on Saturday, so we'll go for a cheeky Verstappen poll.
Okay.
I'll go for a Verstappen race win.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to be cheeky.
Nah, the win's fine. Watch this.
Okay.
We're going Hamilton.
Okay.
Hamilton P2.
Yeah.
And
best
Fernando Alonso.
Hungarian. Okay.
Fernando P3. You heard it here first.
El Plan in P3 around a track that really. Actually, no, Monaco they did pretty well, didn't they?
They did. And Alonso loves Hungary.
That's not a bad shout. That is. I hate the fact now you're probably going to egg this. I'm going to have to go the same, aren't I? No.
Yeah.
I am going to continue to jinx Charles Leclerc.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc pole. Charles Leclerc race victory. Verstappen P2. Hamilton P3 though.
Boring.
I know. I have to close up the points though. I have to be sensible.
If I extend the gap this weekend,
you are going to extend the gap though. This is what I hate, knowing full well you will. Because, I mean, Hamilton, of course, the most successful driver at the Hungarian. He's got twice the wins of anyone else. And it's always weird, isn't it, with Hamilton? Because, like, you kind of think, oh, he's got 8 wins here, all of those will be in the turbo hybrid era. But he's kind of got a couple of odd ones, hasn't he? Like 2009 and 2013. They were kind of like 2 breakthrough wins. Did he win 07 as well, did he? I completely forgot about that.
They threw Alonso to the back of the grid because he didn't cheat.
Yes, yeah, of course, because he did cheat.
No, he didn't.
He did. He illegally blocked in the pit lane.
What, you mean like Mercedes did last year, but everyone forgets about that?
When was that?
They literally waited at the end of the pit lane to stop Red Bull doing a final run.
Oh, yeah, but they got them around the safety car points, didn't they? Yeah, that was when things started to get really spicy, wasn't it? I forgot about that.
And then
it was completely pointless.
Blew everyone up.
Because Bottas just went to Narnia in towards the first corner. Anything else, though, we need to cover before the Hungarian GP this weekend? I think you've got important news that he's going to ruin the show next week, haven't you?
Yeah, apologies to everyone, but I can't record on early next week at all. So the Hungarian review will be about a week late.
Will come as the Belgian GP preview then.
Luckily, we've got 4 weeks off to get the Hungarian review in somewhere.
Yes. So we do apologise for that in advance. Because Jamie's decided again, it's been a week, he needs another holiday. Apparently.
Indeed, yes. So, yeah, keep your eye out for that, but it will be a bit late. I apologise.
Yes.
I don't think I have anything else to add apart from that.
No, that's fair enough. Like we said, this was only meant to be a short little preview show, and of course, like we said, Sebastian Vettel saving the podcast this week with some big news there. But thank you all to everyone that has enjoyed. Let us know your predictions down below as well in the comments. And yes, we will return at some point in the near future, ready to review the Hungarian Grand Prix, but we don't quite know just when yet.